This is a Stock Trading Reality Podcast, episode 163.
What my thoughts were around the time about the stock market, that it is basically a playground for the rich people.
This is the Stock Trading Reality Podcast, where you get to see the realistic side of a trader's journey. Get inspired and stay motivated by everyday normal people who are currently on their journey to trading success. And this is your host, Clay Trader.
Yeah, it's probably one of the funniest group text messages that we have, but long story short, we have kids. My sister has a kid. None of us live near each other, so we just have a group text so we can, share pictures of our kids with my parents because, hey, they're grandparents. What grandparent doesn't want to see kids or pictures of their kids, especially when they don't live nearby? So we have just ongoing text messaging, and then randomly, my dad sending messages, and my wife saying, "What is your dad talking about?" And he's talking about he's got a body in the back right now, and he's moving it, and then business is kind of good right now, and my wife Adam, what did we miss? So we're going back through, and again, there is something that got lost in translation. But my dad, who is retired, is not really retired, but he picked up a job at a local funeral home, and part of the job is he'll go to the hospital and pick up bodies, and he transfers them all around. But at first it was just, so now we always give him a hard time that he works for the mob because he's, hey Dad, you got any bodies in the back right now? And it's just, maybe you just had to be there. I don't know if it's as funny as what it was. Probably one of those you had to be there moments, but I don't know. I guess maybe my dad does work at the mob and this is just a cover story, but retired people don't really stay retired, I guess. But I'm trying to think, Ches, I feel like are your parents retired or no?
Yeah, so my parents are retired now, but after my dad initially retired, he ended up going back to consult because he was like, I don't know how to do this retirement thing. Now it's been about, 8 or 9 years. He's finally like, I'm going to go play tennis. Me and your mom are going to ride bikes. I'm like, all right, it sounds like you figured out the retirement thing. But at first he was like, how do people do this? I knocked off the entire to-do list for the house and now I don't know what to do. So yeah, it's kind of funny how that works.
Yeah, and I guess... Yeah, that is funny. To me, it's just like, I don't know. There's other stuff you could do, but when you've been in the workforce for years upon years, I guess habits get built up. But anyways, no, I can see it now. Clay Trader's dad works in the mafia, but oh well, it'll be funny. He'll get a kick out of it. But anyways, we're going overseas again to the land of the Vikings. We're heading to Iceland, and we're going to talk with Peter. He is a member of the community. He's been around for about a year, as you'll learn, and not the only time, but a pretty big one. Would you agree, Ches, for the 180, that kind of where he started to what he's ended up doing and is still doing? That's got to be probably at least top 10 of one of the bigger 180s we've seen as far as guests are concerned. Yeah,
absolutely, and just the thoughts and planning behind all of it and the logical nature of it is just great to see. But yeah, it definitely falls up there.
Yeah. So good stuff. A little note. Is this our best technical quality or audio quality? Probably not, but he's overseas. He had a mic that he was using, so it's not going to be what you're normally used to. It's still totally audible, and I mean, it's not like you can't understand anything. But if you kind of think what's going on, it's just he's overseas. He's surrounded by Vikings, so I mean, just cut the guy some slack. He's fighting them off with a battle axe as we do this interview. So I mean. That's probably I don't know if that's racist or not. I just love Vikings, and if you're in Iceland or any of those Norwegian countries, it's just because I'm jealous I'm not a Viking. But anyways, before I dig myself any deeper, hey, pun intended, kind of. Let's get to the interview with Peter. Peter, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having me.
Now, you are basically a celebrity in my eyes. You are in Iceland, which makes you're a Viking, right? Or your ancestors were Vikings.
Actually, no. Even though
no.
I am living in Iceland, but I am from Hungary, so actually I am Hungarian.
Oh, well, you're surrounded by Vikings. Are they treating you okay?
That's for sure. Yeah, all right. Yeah.
Okay, good.
All.
All right. Well, all right. So not quite. You live amongst the Vikings. That's still good enough for me. So thank you again for hanging out. You informed us before we get started that it's relatively late over by you. So I appreciate you taking some time out of your evening to do this. So let's just start at the beginning. I mean, where did you hear about the markets, and what kind of got you interested enough to want to pursue them a little bit further and get hands-on with them?
All right. Well, I really want to give you guys a little bit of background here. Kind of three layers. So we are going into three different levels. The first is pretty much started around, well, kind of 20 years ago. I was in school, secondary school, and we had a subject, financial, and basically we touched a little bit stock market there. But obviously, for me, around that time, I had no money to invest. I was not really thinking about to invest. I was not really, I don't know. I mean, I was just a basic kid, and what my thoughts were around the time about the stock market, that it is basically a playground for the rich people. That's it. Um, Second layer goes 10 years over. My wife, it was like 2004-ish, 2004 and 2005. My wife was working at a financial firm, but she was a graphic designer there on a marketing department. But anyway, every year they got a question. Okay, here is some bonus money, and you cannot take it as cash, but you can put it into some stocks. And you have three different options. Basically, you can choose if it goes to some high risk but potential higher reward stock, or you choose something, in the middle way, like middle risk and obviously middle reward, or just a
Sure.
lower risk and kind of lower, reward. And she asked me, what should we do with this? And I was just like, I really don't know. I don't really want to think about this. I'm not good at this. And let's just put it into the golden middle. So just go with the middle risk, middle reward, and then we're fine. So that's what she did. And actually, the next 3 years was pretty much the same, because every year they got this extra money what they can put into the stock market, blah blah. So generally, that's the second level. Uh, However, a little bit I had my own story there also, because I was working at a mobile telecommunication company, and they offered the employees actually stocks every year. It was kind of like similar story, but you own the stock. If you're working there for X amount of time, you can get 10 shares or 50 shares or whatever shares, and you have an option. You can pretty much keep your shares and just sit on it, or you can actually just sell it right now and you get the money, what it's worth at the moment.
Right.
I was pretty much holding it. I said, yeah, just give me the shares. And I didn't really check prices, or I would not say I was truly invest, but I said, yeah, and I'm gonna work here, just let it go like that.
So between your wife's bonuses at her job and those kind of pretty much stock, share plan, if you had to guess like a value about how big these accounts were, how big were they at the time? Because don't get me wrong, some places have huge bonuses, some places have smaller bonuses. Just for listeners' context, how big were these accounts that were kind of you just kind of kept putting money back into them through their share payments?
On my wife's side, I think it was pretty much on the lower. So we're talking about $100 here and there. So I mean,
Sure.
10 years ago, living in Hungary, it was still better than nothing. On my side, I think I got 50 shares to start with. And basically I rolled this for 3 years, meaning that, next year I got another 50, then I got another 50, and I was just holding and holding and holding. And I said to myself, okay, I'm just going to get rid of it when I quit the company, if it comes. 50 shares. If I just name it as the world's second biggest mobile communication company, then you should know what company I am talking about without naming it.
I have a pretty good guess. I think listeners probably have a pretty good guess too. So how long did this actually all go on for? Were you aware of the market? You were active in the sense of you just kept, getting these 50 shares. How long did this all go on? And this was all happening while you were still in Hungary. Am I understanding that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so did this all stop? Did some sort of job situation take you to Iceland?
No, really. Curiosity took me over here. Basically, I quit.
Okay.
Yeah. We will definitely talk about it a little bit later. My hobby is photography, and back in that days, it was pretty much nature photography. And Iceland is really, really a wild nature, in many ways. So I really wanted to come here. I really wanted to take pictures. So in a week or so, I got an opportunity. One of my friends was already working here. He called me, hey, you could actually come to Iceland and work, help me at work. And while, you just travel around the weekends or whatever, and you take the pictures. And I said, yes. So I quit my company basically in a week or so. And after a week, I was here. And then after 2 weeks, I called my wife that she has to come here because I am not going back to Hungary.
All right. I mean, there you go. I guess seek and destroy, apparently. You were there within a week. Well, what did your wife reply back with? What was her take?
Yeah, that's what I'm interested in.
Well, she said no way for first, because no, Iceland dark and cold, and that's just not for me, and it's not gonna work. So we'll just see how it goes. I will stay here. That was absolutely the first, and it took her actually 2 years to come here. Well, the story goes a little bit further. We broke our relationship. Then she went to France. Then after like 1.5 years, we were obviously in touch all the time. But then after like 1.5 years, she said, "Okay, this is just not going anywhere. So I go there and we try." And so she came here, and since then, basically, we're living here.
And she likes it there, it sounds like?
Yeah, absolutely. Otherwise, I think we wouldn't be here. If she would say that she wanted to go, I was just ready to go. But it is not. It seems like it's not happening.
Well, this is definitely a first. Somebody to get up and move to a whole other country, say, "Are you coming with us?" And you held strong. And I'm glad to hear everything's working out from that perspective. So, bringing back in the markets, you went to Iceland to take these pictures. So, did you end up cashing out of all those that portfolio that you had at your previous job, or I guess where's the stock market still fitting into this whole transition from Hungary to Iceland, so you can take pictures?
That's pretty much correct. So basically, I left the company, I quit the company, and I sold all the shares. Actually, I had to sell all the shares because the company said, "Okay, you're not going to be an employee anymore. So this is the price at the moment. So you get this amount for your shares." That was it generally. And really the third layer is just goes back to like 2 years ago. Obviously here I was reading an article about a 19 or 20 years old British guy who just borrowed his father a laptop every night. And the father didn't really know what's going on, but yeah, just no problem. He's probably, playing some online games or whatever. And this guy said at one point to his father that, "Hey, I just want to move out. I wanna be just living my own life. So I wanna buy a apartment for myself." And the father said like, "Okay, I really appreciate, I really like the idea, but I'm not sure if we can manage it at the moment to buy apartment for you or whatever." And the guy said that, "Well, actually, I have the money for it." And it sounds weird. Are you a drug dealer, or how the hell? Where did you get the money for it, or whatever happens? And the guy just said that in the last 2 3 years, I was basically trading the stock market, and this is my account, and this is where the money is coming from. So it's a good story. I really don't know if it was a marketing, story just to get more people basically into the market, or it was a real story, but doesn't really matter. The story itself hooked me on.
The thought was implanted, right? It was the seed from which this is all going to grow on. So
Exactly.
okay, so you heard about this from where?
I just read it on internet and
Gotcha.
in an article.
Okay, so you have the seed now, it's planted, you hear about the story, which is great because obviously, when you start to step into being financially more free and able to kind of, make some more moves and do some things you like, that's obviously always a great story to hear. So I guess what was your plan after reading that? How were you going to get involved in the market? Because I know you said you kind of stayed on the sidelines for a while and didn't pay too much. You thought it was a rich person's playground and that's the way it was. So obviously this changes the story a little bit. This goes from, guy living at home with dad and able to kind of get his own apartment. So, yeah, what were you going to do to kind of, I don't want to say mimic the story, but just get involved?
For me, it was a pretty much, okay, stock market, here we come. So I just want to get a broker and I just want to start. That was really the first move. Then I started to pretty much search online brokers. Okay, where should I go? What should I do? Blah, blah. And I didn't really find what I was looking for. So meanwhile, at work, I started to listening to trading or stock market podcasts, and pretty much after a week or two, where I really slowed down with this attitude that, okay, I just really want to do it, because everywhere I basically just heard, you need education, you need to really slow things down and do that way. And well, that's kind of how I found you guys.
Kind of. So walk us. Actually, I want to ask you about something. You were looking, and then you said, blah blah. You didn't find what did you mean you didn't find what you were looking for? You meant you didn't find a broker, or you didn't find some sort of strategy? But what were you looking for when you first got started that you didn't find?
I was straight looking for brokers. What was really good enough, generally just me. If I want to buy something, I will definitely read 10 millions review before I really pull the trigger. So I started to read about brokers. Then, of course, I read a lot about bad brokers and what is good and what is not good. So I was kind of not really having that straightforward broker where I said, okay, this is what I was looking for. Everything is good. Everything is fine. I just want to go there, and I'm going there. So that's exactly what I did not find.
Okay, all right. So it was mainly just from brokers. We've had people come on that are looking for the next hidden gem, and they stumble in penny stocks. Some people are looking for great strategies, but you were simply looking for a broker. So that makes sense. So you said you kind of heard about us. So I mean, where exactly did you hear about us from? Was it from the podcast here? Was it from the YouTube channel? But what kind of brought you into the clay trader world, if you will?
Yeah, it was pretty much a podcast. Like I said, I started to listening to stock trading podcasts at work. Basically, basically I found one. It was kind of interesting. I went over all of their materials. It was obviously not that much. Took me maybe 2-3 weeks or whatsoever. Then when I finished that, I was just searching for another one, and I find another one. Back it was pretty good. It was that good. I mean, the podcast part was that good that I really looked for the site, and actually I bought a small package from them. Basically, not really. It was not really how to trade or anything. It was not a lay down trading course. It was more like a basic stock market course, I would say. Anyway, it was not too expensive. It helped me out. It definitely gave me some deeper understanding and, kind of refreshing my memories, what I have learned in school before. And yeah, but I didn't really like it at the end, so I didn't go further with them. The reason was super simple because with the second level there, they just really dig into options trading, and I was just not really ready to do that. I was more looking for some price action trading, candlestick, and the technical analysis.
Sure. Well, then obviously that makes sense why you kind of gravitated more towards here since we focus so heavily on that. So I just want to confirm for listeners out there, at no point did you just throw money into a trading account and just blindly buy and sell?
No, that's correct.
Oh, wow. He took the smart man's path. I love to hear it because it's very rare. It's not that often that we come across people who actually do that the correct way. So, okay. So you're unhappy with that service. You're trying to get more on the technical analysis side. And is it safe to say that's when you kind of stumbled upon finding Clay Trader and, starting to dig into the technical analysis side of things?
Not really. Still, it was at the work listening podcast where I really found the stock trading reality podcast, and I started to listen to it. And the first was kind of okay, it was an introduction. Then the second went like, it's getting more interested, and from there, basically the first 20 was just a hell of an interesting story what those guys had, all of those rides. I mean, it was crazy to listening to, and I pretty much from there I went all over the episodes. I think I did not miss any. So
you're in an elite group of people who have done every podcast, so that's pretty awesome to hear, especially starting from number one. So good for you. But I cut you off. What were you gonna say?
I'm not sure. I think I was just going to say that that's how I went to the course, and that's how I really was introduced to Clay's site and the educational course, basically through the podcast. And then I contacted Clay that I am not ready to buy the course, but what if, and is he going to raise the price if I buy after 2 months or so? And basically that is what happened. I mean, I think
Okay, so I'm trying to think. We emailed a little bit beforehand, and you asked me if I was going to raise the prices. The prices didn't go up on you, did they?
No, it didn't. Actually, it
Okay.
was 2017 March or April, so a year ago when I joined straight CTU, and if I am aware, the price is still the same as it was.
It is still the same, and happy 1 year anniversary. If I'm looking down at the date right now, and it's pretty darn close to you being around a year. So, and it's great to have people around that last more than just a few months or anything like that. So that's an accomplishment in and of itself. So you sign up for Clay Trader University. Where did you go from there? Did you jump right into the courses? I mean, what was kind of your plan of attack after you had made that investment?
Going through all the podcasts, I pretty much did know by that time that I really need to learn. I really started basically step by step. So I took took robotic trading first, then I took skill sharpening. I took level 2s, but it was kind of like I missed 1 and 2 parts here and there, and I went back. And I think parallel with the level 2s, I took I don't know, something else, maybe the grow reach or something, which is not that much of a technical analysis thing. But then I went back. Since
So you were.
yeah.
Go ahead.
And since then, I took obviously the cash flow. I took the forex. I am at the end of the RVR trading, and I started parallel with the RVR, the options simplified. So that is pretty much what was in the last year. I am not live trading still, even though, I really wanted to run into it, but all I heard is just take it slowly and learn and education, and that's what I am doing.
That's actually pretty amazing to hear. Like you said, when you first got started, you literally wanted to run right into it all. And now I hear that you've been just flat out education mode for the past year, and you're just absorbing it all. I mean, it sounds like you've taken almost everything, and you're still going through it. So my question is, and that's great, you're taking your time, but you have a full-time job right now?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and I would assume that you would recommend to anybody that, hey, if they want to get involved in the market, it's something that you don't want to just flat out quit a day job or just not have any sort of day job to pursue, because from your perspective, and correct me if I'm wrong, I would assume that you kind of like the peace of mind knowing, hey, I don't have to rush because I have a job. Is that a pretty fair assumption on my part?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Anyway, I think I'm not seeing myself as a full-time trader anyway. I love my job, and I'm not planning to quit my job anyway. So, but yeah, absolutely.
So in terms of, and I mean that's great, because it's we have some people that are always gung ho to go full time trading, and it's just unfortunate they don't like the job they're in. That's just how it is sometimes. But I guess if you had kind of a time frame, and like I said, this is all, if you just had to guess and forecast, how long do you think it'll be until you maybe fund an account to start, putting trades on? I would assume with a full-time job, you're thinking of more maybe supplemental income, long-term swing trading, or am I wrong there?
Yes and no. I am just thinking about now that I really should try it live, because I am obviously paper trading during these days and during the courses pretty much. I think I started in like September or October, somewhere there. Generally focusing on Forex, because of the time difference here and there is kinda, and my job is just pretty much putting me out of the opening in the US market. So that's why I kinda more swinging to that direction. However, I really love paper trading, US stocks.
So okay, so you're trading forex, which I was actually wondering if that story you had originally told me was specifically related to forex, but you said you was trading stocks. But anyways, besides that, are you trading it just intraday, or are you doing trading on the hourly? I guess what time frame are you trading forex? Because we do get this question a lot, because some people strictly short-term trade it on the 5-minute chart. Other people like myself, I prefer to trade it on the hourly chart. Some people trade on the daily. What's your, I guess, time frame of choice for trading currency pairs?
When I started paper trading, I was really focusing on a short term, like 5 minutes to maybe an hour. At the moment, I'm pretty much focusing on a 4 hour daily and even weekly charts. I just like really much how much more can you change or can you manipulate, in between.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that because it's a perfect example. I sit here and I hear those time frames, and I'm just like, oh, geez, that's like a long time. That doesn't make Peter wrong. That doesn't make me right. I just, when if you hear out there, well, why do people say that it's personal? Like it's personal preference. What does that mean in the world of trading? Well, that's a great example. There, Peter is saying he enjoys those time frames, and I'm sitting here saying that sounds miserable. Again, that doesn't make Peter wrong. That doesn't make me wrong. It just shows, how people are different. And then, Chaz, you're probably right in the middle of all that. Like you said, you like the hourly, so you're kind of like middle ground here.
Yep, hourly and daily are where I generally make the most money, and I'm still working on the short-term time frames, but I don't know a better way to say it. It's literally just preference. It's where it feels comfortable for you.
It is preference.
Now, Peter, my question is, go ahead, Peter.
It is preference, and also my daily job basically does not give me the opportunity, to check or sit in front of the computer basically all the day. So that's why I tend to go that way.
What pairs do you have any sort of currency pairs that you like more than others, or I guess what best fits into your personal time schedule?
Euro dollar is the basic. I pretty much trade that most of the time, but GBP yen comes in mind also, and basically all the majors and minors I am pretty much checking daily basis. Even though I'm not trading all of them, pretty much checking them. And
now, when you check them, is this for a purpose? Are you drawing annotations on them to get more chart practice, or are you just checking them just for the? I guess. What do you mean by checking them? What exactly does that entail?
Yeah, checking means pretty much I'm looking for general strategies, moving average, crossovers, or whatever I like to trade. Then doesn't really matter if something comes up on this, X, Y, Z currency pair. I will take that trade, if the strategy is there in front of me. So checking means pretty much technical analysis, and just if I like something, then I will go for it.
Okay, so even if it's a minor pairing or something, you're not going to only strictly state a certain pairs. You're open to trade anything. Did I understand that right?
Yeah, that's correct. But the main focus is definitely the euro dollar and the majors. But yes, that's correct.
Okay, all right, perfect. Out of curiosity, it sounds like you're really honed into the forex, and that's fantastic. Do you have any? Did you say you went through the options course? I'm trying to think back, or no?
Yes, I have started the options simplified. Not finished yet. I'm around halfway through. Okay,
so it sounds like are you considering options, or are you just kind of learning more about them? Because some people I know like to try to factor in a couple different strategies. Do you have any sort of outlook on kind of, maybe trying to do options later on down the line, or where does that fit, or maybe not fit into your?
Definitely, okay. I can see myself options trading. Yes, it fits actually my day. It fits into my general daily routine.
Right, and I was thinking because of your job and all that, and Ches, you're more of the options farmer than I am. That would be a great way. And for you listeners out there, if you're like, oh, I can relate with Peter, maybe not necessarily with the time zone thing, but my job getting in the way, so I can't be, a quote unquote day trader. But with the advanced options, you would agree, Ches, that Peter could definitely apply that to his situation, where it's both a job and a time zone situation. Am I barking up the right tree here, Ches?
No, you absolutely are, and I always recommend people, I just had a phone call today with somebody who was asking about the program, and, I got a full-time job, no plans on leaving, what would you recommend? And I go, the advanced options are great because you could literally check on it during lunch or whatever hours at all, because I set up my entire trade plan from the time I put my position on. Then after that, I just check on it. Most of the time, I don't do any type of management, don't do anything. I have my orders set on when I'm going to take profit. I have alerts set if I need to stop out. It's kind of, I know I'm really simplifying it way too much, but it's set it and forget it. And for folks with jobs, I just think it's one of the best ways to trade. By no means is it going to, can you not make 1,000% gains, day trading or something? Sure, that's possible, but I'll take slow and steady all day versus, especially if you're not going to quit your job and try to trade intraday. So yeah, I always recommend that for people who have either different time zone or just really busy with work.
Yeah, and like you already said earlier, Ches, in Peter's situation, he's just looking for it for supplemental income because he likes his job, which is, again, he's not going to make thousands and thousands of percents, but if you like your job and you want just another stream of income coming in, then, advanced options make a lot of sense. So I guess the long story short there, Peter, glad to hear that you are currently learning about options and are not going to just kick them to the side, because I think it really could help you out. Before I forget, have you done any more digging into this broker issue? Have you found a Forex broker that works for you? Where does this whole broker situation currently stand?
I did try only free brokers. Back again, I'm that kind of guy who is really checking out reviews before I go into somewhere, even if it was just paper trading. I really wanted to know if it is a pretty trusty broker, or what does it do generally. And yeah, the first one, it was recommended by many online sites, and I tried it. No problem with the broker itself. However, the platform, I absolutely hated it. It just didn't work for me. And it was an integrated, basically online platform, built-in platform. No MetaTrader 4 or nothing no other options, which was really sad. So I forget them pretty much because of the platform. And then I went to another one where I pretty much started to use the MetaTrader platform. It's pretty all right for Forex, I would say. And I changed that to a European one, because this one was actually not a European broker. And because of the authorization and other things, I changed to a European one, but generally do the same.
Okay, so I guess that kind of piggybacks to the next question. You've gone around the broker circle. Do you have any sort of, you're paper trading right now. Do you have any sort of numbers that you're looking to make, whether that be an amount on paper or win rate? I guess, what is going to need to occur in your eyes in order for you to decide, you know what, I've paper traded long enough. I've proven to myself that, I can make it work. So let's go with real money. So I guess a better way that I could have asked the question is, how can you prove to yourself that you're ready to go from paper trading to real money trading?
I don't really want to prove anything. Of course, it is a practice, and I pretty much burned my first paper trading account in like a month or so. Of course it hurt, and of course I worried about it, but thinking back now, I was just pretty much, getting familiar with the platform itself. I was practicing how to buy, how to sell, how to set up, different things on the platform itself. It was not really about any specific strategy or what am I gonna do with trading. So that was the first one. And the second one, I did really try short time frames. So basically I killed myself with news advance. I pretty much checked, okay, what kind of euro dollar sensitive news are coming, and I tried to trade those. And you know how it is for a beginner, even for a pro trader, it could be just really crazy. So the second, yeah. the second account, or the second part of it, was pretty much this. And at the moment, I would say in the last 2-3 months, I'm pretty much in the green, but nothing huge, nothing big, and I don't even care about it. I'm just happy not losing what I did before.
Well, I think it's safe to say you already made a great decision in terms of, first off, we always tell people, even people who've been trading for a while that are in our community, if you're switching platforms, switching brokers, take a little bit of time and get familiar with it, because you pretty much said that first account, you're only getting familiar with it. You'd be extremely unhappy right now if you had blown up an actual account just trying to figure out the nuances of platforms. So you did good there. The second one is another great example of you trying to find where you fit best, what works with your personality, what do you see the easiest, time frames, all that kind of stuff. So I'm happy to hear that you found the short-term one just was, and I completely agree with you. Sometimes the intraday stuff could be absolutely crazy, and if you're leveraged to the gills in Forex, you could easily blow up very quickly. So, but it sounds like you've found definitely more of your swing. Like I said before, I fall under the camp of I'm trying to do trading for the slow and steady. So if you're being profitable, and like I said, it's not about making $1 million in a day. Would that be great? Sure, but I'd rather hit base hits all day and be consistent than go for the one hit wonder and screw up the rest of my time. But I don't know, Clay. Would you agree that he's kind of taken the logical approach, and just by keeping it on paper, he's really giving himself a true chance when he starts to fund an actual account?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the cost-effective way to go. I mean, think about, and we've had it before, and I mean, we're not picking on these people, and I mean, I guess I did it in ways too, but I guess I'm not very good in the short term. Oh, that cost me $1,500, $2,000. I guess I'm not good with that broker or that strategy using that broker. Oh, well, that cost me another $1,500. And before you know it, I mean, you have all these amounts adding up. Now, that is still all relative. If this is somebody that's got $50,000, then okay, that's a little bit different. I mean, there's always a little bit of apples and oranges, but to the spirit of Chez's question, yeah, I think he's taking it cautious. And I'm still shocked, and just my mind is still kind of trying to wrap my mind around how somebody that started off all this with, I'm going to run, let's go, I want to get started, I want to run, and now all of a sudden you're displaying all this caution, and you're approaching things in a very practical type of way, and that's great. I want to comment that you're green, and you made the comment, well, I don't even really care, but still, it's like you said, you're happy that you're green and not losing money. Is that pretty much what's got you kind of enthused right now?
Absolutely. That is what I'm learning from you guys. Not pretty much just Clay Trader, CTU, but from the podcasts and from all the guests, what I heard is, it all goes back to this. So why not try to do the proper way, if there is a proper way?
That's well said. What is a proper way for everybody? That will vary. But I like to use the analogy. There's a path, and you want to be on the proper way path. Now, where exactly do you walk on the proper way path? Well, there's a little bit of leeway there, but I mean, there's definitely ways to go off the path, and sadly, most people are maybe on the path for a little bit, and then they're off the path, and it's just a situation where you don't know what you don't know, and unfortunately, that's just what it comes with free education. When you don't know what you don't know, and you're having stuff tossed all over at you, yeah, some of that stuff may have you on the proper path, but other stuff could very easily be dragging you off of it, and who knows what sort of bad habits and stuff you're starting to form. So on that note, in terms of habits and such, what are some things that in your trading that you're kind of aware of that maybe you sense of as a potential weakness, or maybe you just know that it's a weakness right now that you want to work on?
I would definitely like to work on the better exits. With the entry point, I'm kind of seeing those potentials where I really want to enter a trade, and those are working fine. Sometimes I just set up a target profit, and I just checking the chart, and I pull the trigger earlier, and I just get out of the trade because of seeing some reverse or whatever. And then after that, of course, the price goes straight through my target and even more. So definitely would like to work on that a little bit. Just be more patient and not freak out and not to get out of a good trade while it is working for me. And obviously I do some proportional, so I take part of it and I let and the rest ride. But sometimes I just pretty much close the trade.
Well, you'll start to see with time and more practice that it always pays generally to leave a runner on, because you never know when something might just be a home run. You can't forecast home runs, but as long as you're on the right side of the trade, you're doing fantastic. Now, you've already beaten up on yourself enough with the weaknesses. What would you say are your strengths? Because obviously you've been doing this for a good amount of time, and it sounds like you got a good amount of practice under your belt. So what do you excel at?
Like I said, the entries are pretty good. I'm happy with that. Probably my passion goes through the market is definitely strength. I mean, I wake up 5:30 in the morning and I leave home like 7, and in these 1.5 hour, I pretty much just sit in front of the computer and checking what happened with the forex, overnight. I mean, overnight for me.
So you are.
I,
I'm sorry. Whenever I hear 5:30 in the morning, it always kind of in my mind sparks the. I don't want to hear people's excuses, but you're saying something. But yeah, good on you. I love people that use that thing called an alarm clock.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, yeah, just why not?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It's
I'm
kids are sleeping. Sorry, kids are sleeping. Wife is sleeping. It's quiet. It's peaceful. Just that is the best time possibly. To go over this.
I fully agree. Whenever I'm doing anything for work wise, whether it's putting together a course or anything like that, my alarm set for 5:20 just because the kids are sleeping. Everybody, it's peace and quiet. So we're in full agreement there. As far as you're doing your scans, you're looking at your charts. What exactly is on your chart? I mean, are you keeping it basic? Do you have certain indicators you like? But if Ches and I were sitting next to you and we were looking at your chart, what would we see?
I pretty much love the Pink Floyd laser show, so you don't see the candles. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Hey, man, if you can make it work, good for you. I'll sing you some Pink Floyd sometime.
No, I have 3 moving averages, obviously candlestick. Sometimes I put Bollinger Bands on, but lately I'm not really using it. I like to see the RSI, and sometimes I put up stochastic and MACD just for confirmation, but it's not on my chart, all the time.
Gotcha.
That's it. Volume, of course.
Yep, and nothing crazy, no laser light shows, so
keep it simple, stupid.
There's a reason why people say that, and there's a reason why people use it. So, Peter, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I do know that the main reason you came on, though, it was to borrow my time machine and go back to any time you wanted and give yourself one piece of advice. So, what would that piece of advice be?
I always wanted to say that it would be to start it earlier, but at the moment I really want to say nothing at all, because if I started earlier, then I would probably run into it, and my attitude before was kind of just go, and it definitely would burn me, So absolutely nothing. I think I'm fine.
That's usually I would say, wait a second, no, you can't go back and tell yourself nothing. But you gave a perfect reason on why you wouldn't why you would keep it the same, because you did the exact opposite of what you wanted to do at first, which we've talked about it many times by running into all of this. So Ches, I think he might be the first person that said he would go back and tell himself nothing. Maybe a couple other people, but not many say I would change nothing.
That's right. Not only a couple, but yes, it's all about the journey and where you got to and what led you to get here. So yes, he falls in a small category.
Yeah, Peter, that's I can't. I like to try to give people a hard time if they try to kind of play the thing that you just did, but that's perfect logic. I'm going along your logic. That's good logic, and because you're absolutely right. And a lot of people will come and with customer service tell Ches and I don't know anything. I don't know anything at all. And I'm just like, to these people, I'm like, do you realize how perfect that is? The problem with a lot of people is they do know some stuff, but the stuff they know has been corrupted by just randomness and just the threats that are out there in the wonderful world of the internet. And then they have all these bad habits. They have these false misconceptions about things. But I mean, like Ches and I tell people, if you are brand new and you know nothing, that is perfect because you are a clean slate to the fullest. And what's brought all this up is that's why what Peter means is he kept it a clean slate, and he went and he's taken his time, and he hasn't corrupted himself, foreign bad habits, foreign false misconceptions because he ran and sprinted into things. So like he said, he would have been burned had he done that. So anyways, great answer there, Peter. I like that a lot. It makes a whole lot of sense. But now it's time to move into the fun questions. And given you've watched or listened to every single podcast, I have a feeling you know what question is coming next, but I'm going to ask it anyhow.
Yes.
Peter, what is your favorite movie? And this is always fascinating because I like talking with people, the international community, just to kind of to see what they like, where their head's at in this regard. So movie, Peter, what do you got for us?
I'm pretty much not that huge movie fan, but I like, let's say, Sixth Sense, Fight Club, or Snatch. Those kind of movies.
Some
Brad
action
Pitt.
thinking. Yeah. No, that's
You can say it's action, but I mean there is some psychological thing behind. So yeah, I would definitely go that way.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of movies that make you think. Don't get me wrong, I like funny comedies here and there too, but I like movies that make you think. It's always I like to figure it out in the beginning, and I'm always like the twist at the end blows my mind. But Peter, what do you do for foods and desserts out there?
I love Hungarian foods. However, I have to say I like what Norse really hated.
Oh, you like the sheep's head?
Viking. Yes, I do.
I want Peter.
Awesome.
One day we need to eat sheep's head. Because that's good stuff. That's not Hungarian food? That's just flat out.
No. It's Icelandic. It's flat out Icelandic. But when I came here, I said it's disgusting. It smells disgusting. I'm never gonna try it. And it's just how can you eat it? Or it was pretty much for 2 years like this. And at some point after 2 years, okay, let me try. And whoa, this is lovely. I like it. And since then, I just eat it.
What does it taste? Is it taste like chicken, or do you put spices on it? What does a sheep's head taste like?
No, it tastes like meat. I would say it's pretty much closer to beef, or
beef. Ches, would you eat a sheep's head with Peter and I?
I mean, I have to try it. I'm generally not one to pass on stuff unless it's going to kill me. So I don't think a sheep's head would kill me.
Okay, you don't. Okay, there's no shellfish in sheep head, so we should be good to go. That's
that green lights me.
Yeah, there you go. Ches is game on for at least trying, which is I like that attitude. At least give it a try. What about hobbies? And you can't say pictures though, because we know that. But outside of taking pictures, what do you like to do with your spare time?
Before we hop there, I really want to go back to food and just name brownie with vanilla ice cream and coffee as a dessert. I just love it.
Oh, that's making me hungry, Peter. Why did you have to do that? That was
dinner's around the corner for me, but
sorry,
killing me.
That's
no problem.
Okay, so
no problem.
Hobby,
go ahead.
Hobbies, photography, definitely. Lifting weights, definitely. Fishing, definitely. So I am pretty much active. I'm out in the nature when the weather allows us, and here is during the winter. It's pretty much a long and dark and boring winter. But when the better weather comes, then we are just outside.
Nice. What kind of weightlifting do you do? Are you lifting for strength or just to keep in shape, or what?
Pretty much just to keep in shape. I used to do 5x5 strength training. I stopped it. I mean, it worked very well, but I stopped it, and now I'm just keeping myself in shape.
Nice. What did you get up to on the bench?
90. I'm not big. Kilos.
90 kilos. Yeah, I don't know the metrics on that, but you did like the 5x5. It was working for you. You just decided to change it up.
Yeah, it was pretty good actually. I liked it. What I got most out of it was pretty much the squat. However, I have quite bad thoracic spine, which means that I changed the back squat to front squat. So I was pretty much mostly doing front squats instead of back. That's like 75 or 80%. So they say, what you can lift on the back, but yeah.
Regardless, you were lifting, so that's good stuff, and that's definitely a hobby of Ches and I, so I figured I'd ask. But Ches, you're up with the three-worder.
I'm up with the three-worder. So, Peter, if you had to pick 3 words that you would say define successful trading, what would those 3 words be?
Trade the plan.
Because
if you trade the plan...
I like it.
That was good.
If you trade the plan, it means you have some strategy behind. If you trade the plan, it means you are patient. It means you are disciplined. So basically, it has all in it.
That's if I can nitpick here, we'll change it to 4-word, and I would say trade the logical plan, because Ches and I see lots of plans out there, but then when people start to tell us about the plan, it's so trade the logical plan. Would you agree with that, Peter?
Yes, I do.
Okay, because there's a lot that goes into making things logical. But yeah, I get the spirit of your answer. That's definitely a good answer for sure. Well, Peter, thank you. Are you going to be on the webinar tonight?
Well, it's getting too late, so not. I have never been on any live webinar, but I am checking them, later.
The man gets up at 5 a.m. He gets a pass. Yeah, he can watch the recordings.
Exactly. I fully agree with that, Ches. We'll give him a hall pass for sure. So you just watch them in the archives then?
Yes.
Nice. So I just bring that up because we have one starting here in about 38 minutes if my math is right. But Peter, anyways, thank you for taking time out of your evening, especially when we've learned more context that you get up so early in the morning. I appreciate it, and just keep on doing what you've been doing, and you're doing things the right way, that's for sure. And I'm glad that you're enjoying things and just going through it the way that it should be, the proper way. So thank you again, Peter, for hanging out.
Thanks a lot. It was fun.
For you listeners out there, before we wrap things up, if you are listening on YouTube, make sure to check out the rest of the channel. There is other things on here besides these podcasts. And if you enjoy what you see, hopefully you decide to subscribe to the channel. But if not, if you could at least hit the like button on this, that would be perfect. If you are listening on iTunes or any of the other podcast players, make sure to subscribe. And especially on iTunes, if you could leave us a rank or a rating, that really helps us out with the rankings and just getting the word out there. So even if you never spend a dime, totally cool. But yeah, a way that you could just help us out in a non-monetary fashion is just, hey, leave us a rating. And that goes a long way. And then finally, if you're listening on claytrader.com, the show notes page, click that share button down below the video. You can leave comments. We read those and we will reply. So hopefully you decide to check that out and leave us feedback, thoughts, suggestions, whatever your fingertips want to type out. So thank you again to Peter. Thank you as always to our esteemed co-host Ches. We will see you back next week.
This has been the Stock Trading Reality Podcast. Thanks for taking the time to hang out. To learn more about Clay and the Clay Trader community, including the trading team, premium training, and more, visit claytrader.com.